Right, let's do it. Let's test it. Right, I've discovered that the speakers do work with the tablet. I've just got to, because Bugush were puzzled why I was using a laptop, because I don't really use the laptop all that much. And that's why I used it because the problem is with the first recording was that your sound was a bit shite. The coming from the tablet speaker. Uh, this this thing, about 2 or 3 year old now, the KS Boombar Bluetooth speaker. It takes uh, a ball ache of a time to charge up, and it's the same connector as a Samsung. And because I've lost a few cables or damaged cables in the past, she dug out this non-standard cable for me. But as you know, if it's a non-standard cable and it does have the ability of fast charging, it won't pass charge. It has to be a proper cable for the device. So it was like having to charge up the Bluetooth speaker, charge up the bloody phone, um, and the tablet. That's why I've had this idea. Hang on. I utilise my laptop because I've got these HP speakers, um, which are great for a laptop, and I thought because she thought it was a bit strange that I was using a laptop. I thought because I tried to explain because until we can find an app which we can it does three jobs all at once, like a Zoom style chat app with even if just three basic features. So that's what we need. There was no need for any of this fucking about with this £8 tripod and HP mini speakers and Bluetooth connectors. If we can record it on the phone or the tablet, sound and vision, without any special features, which will be a premium tool. I mean, the world it'll be a lot better, wouldn't it, Jeff? That's the problem, isn't it? Because that's what we need. We need some kind of app where it utilises your microphone as part of the recording process. So, because you tried it and I've tried it, and all we've found is screen recorders, which you can record like me doing those little um, videos with the pictures, but using Google and that when I showed you a little walkthrough of locating Sid James's house. And you can say, this is the thingy, but to do this, we can't do it. It's bloody ridiculous. Right, so um, whilst we can do it during the week, because it's probably June when she's returned to about looks in it. Uh, right, you probably seen my videos, Jeff, as regarding um, the location of Sid James's last house. Um, now I'll do my piece, and then you do what you think. Well, as you know, me and yourself on our big extra long John Holmes London Bash. Um, when we went to Beacons, well, we drove through Beaconsfield in search of the Carry On Sergeant Church, based on the information that you received, and I knew from looking down at it that it wasn't the church, and so I checked, and we realised that it was actually we'd just driven through bloody Beaconsfield, and that's we had to drive back to Beaconsfield. But whilst we were there, as you know, we went down to a street used in a few Carry-On films, including Carry-On Emmanuel, which is pretty weak by Carry-On standards. It's probably even weaker than Carry-On Jack, and that's saying something.
Yeah.
It's watchable, but it's just that funky music, Love Crazy, which starts off in a bright pink lettering for the logos, and it's just it's just borderline ridiculous. It's definitely not. It's not. Well, I say it's probably is the worst Carry-On film, but it's like some Kenneth Connor that save it. Just Kenneth Connor and Jack Douglas. So we went down to Pinewood Close, and that's where that bloke said, um, "Oh yeah, it's over there," and that's when I asked you to post that picture. We had
It ain't
been,
even looking. It ain't even fucking look. We just played.
yeah. Well, I've seen his house on Google Street View. So it wasn't till later on when I made sure, and then I saw that Delaford Park was mentioned in Ivor. Now, as I found out today, Ivor Heath, where Power Studios is, and Ivor are two separate places. They're like next door neighbours, but they are two separate villages. So, where that bloke said his house was bollocks. And a subsequent satellite image on Google Earth shows that that house that you was stood in front of, the satellite image shows clearly there's three big houses being built on the site, so that house has been demolished. But the house that you were stood behind is still there on the street level. That hasn't been updated. But the satellite image shows that there's a building site there with three big houses built on the same site. So when I realised that Ivor, which I confirmed today, is next is that Ivor is what Elshire is to Bournemouth. The next door neighbours, but they're separate places. And and I saw this I see that screenshot of that forum place. There's only two. I think it was not forum. Something at Yahoo Answers or something or Reddit Answers, and there were two um, two posts. One from 2012 saying that the house is uh, on the road which leads to the M20, which goes over the either under. I think either goes under or over the M25 near St Peter's Church, but you can't see it from the road because it's gated off. And then another post from 2019 or 2020 says the entrance to the place has been moved, and they believe that the house has been demolished. So putting two and two together, I had a look, and I've obviously seen my videos. I've identified a possible site where the house is or was. If it has been demolished or not, I don't know. And when I've zoomed in on Google Earth, it does look like it's not very clear. If you do like the 3D, 3D of it, um, it does look like there is some kind of house structure there, but it is not clear. If you go onto the satellite image, it looks like it's a shell. Same with Instant Street View. If you click on a satellite image, it's not very. It looks like it's a brick shell, but yeah, So when I typed in Delaford House, um, you can clearly see this old like Georgian house, and near a painting of the original house, and then there's a photograph taken other side like this brook, this bubbling brook or babbling brook, and that's Colney Brook, and that's literally you got Delaford House, Colney Brook. There's that stone bridge, and then you got the M25 running parallel to the brook. And then if you see that clip that I screen recorded from part one of Seriously Seeking Sid, which is on YouTube, and it's a bit where you see his widow, Valerie, walking onto the stone bridge. That was that same stone bridge that you can see on that picture of that grand old house in the distance, and that brook and that bridge. And so I reckon the site where I found what looks like some kind of structure on it, although the the picture images are not very clear. I reckon that's where the house is, or stroke was. So, so what do you think, Mr. Horn?
Well, I think it is relax.
But it fits in. It it fits in. Oh, listen, I'm gonna just get my son a Henry, and I'll tell you a funny tale. Well, not well. It wasn't funny at the time, but it relates to obviously me bringing down my laptop Saturday night, thinking I'm gonna be just ready, and had the speakers ready, which I'm using now on the tablet. And obviously it became apparent that you must have been catching flies. So I was just finishing off a, a dram of Jim, maybe that much left. A Jim Beam. Where the tablet is now, obviously I'd switched. Well, I thought I'd switched off the laptop. I'd closed it, and I put the glass on top. And what had happened is I went to grab the glass, it slipped, and it tipped over onto its side. So I grabbed the glass quick, and I grabbed a quick tea towel, and obviously wiped it. Thankfully, because the laptop was closed, but it was still switched on, it was actually only in standby. I must have pressed them, and all this bloody pop-up screen come up with all this computer language. Doing all to these changes. I went, no, I got to, I shut it down. Sunday morning, she'd been in bath, and I said, I woke up, I could sleep, so yeah, I go in bath. Because it was bugging me, I went into the back bedroom, and I fired up, and she was puzzled. I thought you were going to the bath. I says, I know, but at first I said, oh, computer's a bit slow, like. And then I said to her, look, what's happened is this. I had my glass on top of the laptop. It was closed, and I thought I switched it off because Jeff was a no-show. Because he must have been, catching flies. And I picked up the glass, and some liquid and some more bourbon spilt on the closed lid. So I wiped it, and I wiped underneath, but it might have dripped through, because I didn't want any of the liquid to get into the keys, because once it gets into the keys and drips into the circuit board below, it's good night of Vienna, isn't it? Yeah. Would you think so?
Yes, it's a defense to a kiss like me.
Yeah. Well, that. But so she was puzzled why I was starting it up. I said, look, and she actually didn't believe me. I said, that's what happened. I had it all set up, thinking going to be just my day. When it became quite apparent that there could be no just my day, I went to switch it off, closed the lid, put the glass on there, had some Jim Beam left. I picked it up, the glass slipped, went on its side, and bloody Jim Beam started to pool out onto the top of the bloody laptop lid. So I wiped it up as quick as I could because I didn't want it to get into the electrics, into the circuit board, because my old man, about a year or so ago, no, maybe 3 years ago now, maybe even longer, he spilt some cleaning fluid onto his old laptop, and I said, well, you fucked it now. So we took him to Tesco's, where they didn't have many laptops left because it's all going tablets now. And I said, well, it's knackered now, it's going to electrics. I mean, that laptop now, which was a Hewlett Packard, that's now packed up. But it was so slow and having problems, so we persuaded him to go and get a new laptop, and it's a bigger one. But he kept using his old one for so long. But even now, that's packed up. So I had a close shave because I fired up the laptop on the Sunday morning, which you were puzzled about. But thankfully, it fired up okay, and I said that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to see if it fired up okay and if I could switch it off, which it worked. So I was quite happy that the laptop wasn't affected. Not that I use it very much these days, but I only tried it the once because I can plug in the speakers into it, you see, which improves the sound from your end. Right, let me get Henry now. I can get onto my little project, which I made some notes. Right. Okay, so I wrote some notes down. If we ever do locate this phantom app where we can simply record, well, I can record everything on my phone, sound and vision. There'll be no need for any of this arsing about with, like I said, Bluetooth speakers, tablets or whatever. We can simply just one-stop shop on phone. All we seem to find is screen recorders, which are no bloody good. Right, so we've kind of you've seen my videos that I've done as regarding Sid James's house, with the various where you can see me flicking between Google Images, Google Earth, Street View, and the screenshots from that answer thing. What do you think about Sid James's house? Do you think we found it?
I
What the hell? It's like a special effect where everything's delayed. So what do you think? Do you think I've found Sid James's house?
probably.
It's a logical place because it says it's opposite St Peter's Church in Ivor. It said you go down to the Iver Mini Island, which is basically it's a mini roundabout. There's a pub directly opposite called the Swan. You turn, if it was a sat nav, it would be the third exit. So you're to the right of the perimeter wall of St Peter's Church on Iver Road, I think. And if you carry on that road, you eventually go over the M25. But if you before the bridge, there's a grand old Georgian mansion, which is Delaporte House. There's a slightly bigger house if you come a little bit further back, so you're nearer to the Iver Mini Island and where the pub is. And both, what that one's gated, but the Delaporte House isn't. And it says, bit up the drive, there's a little thing which leads to where the house is. Now you can access it from both sides, from the bigger house, which is gated off Iver Road, and there's another access drive from the road which isn't gated off, which is Delaporte House, which is where that stone bridge is, where you see his wife Valerie walking on in that documentary. But the satellite images are just absolute shit, man. Short ass French dictator, TNT. Napoleon Dynamite. So give us a clue. Napoleon Oh, fuck's sake. Napoleon Dynamite. Oh. Right, so I'll look at those videos because, yeah, I thought I would have some luck with the Iver Heath Residents Association on Twitter. But it appears that a Twitter account hasn't been used for about 8 months. So whoever was running the Twitter account for the Iver Heath Residents Association is disassociated themselves with it. Right, so I've written down just a few pointers. Right. First thing I want to touch upon is food, and I will come on to the Hollybush, which is my main one, which is now a fucking day nursery called Little Raccoons, which if you go into Google Street View, you will see it's been updated. It's showing the revamped former Hollybush pub, which is now a fucking day nursery. So, first little subject on my little list is fish and chips. Now, if you recall, now it's the drinks situation I want you to think about here. If you recall, it was one of our trips into London. There was a partial tube strike, so we had a right issue to get to this place, which has links with the Carry On stage show. We went to this pub, which is near to the Victoria Palace Theatre, called the Stage Door. Now, bear in mind, we had a right 2 and 8 to get there, because of the situation with the London Underground. We had fish and chips. Now I know it's a long time, but do you recall the quality of the fish and chips? Or do you remember the soft drinks that we ordered more?
We'll give us soft drinks. Can't even do it, probably.
But
As a barmaid, it's absolutely useless.
was it a raspberry cordial or something? You dilute raspberry or something, or blackberry or
No
blueberry?
blackcurrant. All they asked was a simple pint of blackcurrant juice.
Yeah, and it was shit, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't proper blackcurrant juice. It's just like water, and it's crap.
And if you think of how much uh, we probably paid for, like, I mean, I think for me, I mean, the Stage Door were a nice pub. It was just like a lot of these places, you expect, it's London, like, like I think we had a lovely fish and chips, a substantial fish and chips at at the Red Lion pub on Whitehall.
Westminster. That was a good one.
Yeah,
It
well, it was Westminster,
cheap as
but
well.
it was actually the actual street it was on was, well, I think it was Whitehall, because we were literally just round the corner from Old Scotland Yard, which is now a hotel. But they were nice fish and chips, weren't they?
It was quite cheap as well.
Yeah, because there's a picture. I'm not sure if you took, or I think I took it. It's not the Red Lion, and it definitely wasn't the Stage Door. But there was a picture that I took. Um, Actually, it might have been. I'm not sure if it was fish and chips. It might have been fish and chips. I think it might have been actually um, the pies that I told you about at the Hand and Racket in Wimbledon. Because if you remember, I have touched on this before. I went up there to see where Imogen Hassel lived and died, and I went up to her house, and I've followed the Hand in Hand and the Crooked Billet on Twitter, and they are utilising that green uh, just beyond where her house is in Wimbledon Village. Uh, People there, more brass than sense, having G&Ts and having food brought out to them, and the tables. Oh, it looks absolutely lovely. And at some point on my solo trips to London, I would stop off at a certain point, whether it be the White Hart in Whitechapel, in the Aldgate area, or thanks to you, the most excellent pie and mash with gravy at the Gladstone in the Borough. Well, that's thanks to you, that. I'll get onto that. But I went down to this pub called the Hand and Racket. There was obviously Sky Sports was on, Sky Sports News, and I saw half a pie, uh, five $5.99 or £6.50 or something. Full pie with mash, gravy, £9. And it nearly filled the plate. And it was absolutely divine. Stewing steak, gravy, the crust was lovely. And I thought for London, it was value for money. I thought you can't complain at that. And it filled me up until night time I had a quick snack, but it absolutely filled me up. And I told you about this place, didn't I? We went to Imogen Hassel's house. You was wearing your blue Henley t-shirt. I took a picture of you stood outside the house, and then right, where's this pub? I'm hungry. So went on hunt. Went down to the first part of Wimbledon Village. Oh, it's not. I don't recognise. No, I don't recognise it at all. No, it can't be here. And we walked down that hill, and then right near, not far, I say, from the Centre Court shopping centre and the Wimbledon Tube Stroke Rail Station. I think there was scaffolding at the time, and I said, "This is it." And we ordered. The pies were still on the menu. So, from your point of view, recall when the two pies arrived at our table.
You are gonna love. Get the knife and fork ready to tuck in. Cut into your pie, add a bit, and then you cut it to it again, and oh, mm, oh, fuck's sake, you want it? Oh,
Well, my main grievance, if you remember, was I came across great big chunks of onion, which wasn't there when I had the pie previous. So I stopped having eaten half the pie, whereas before I'd actually demolished it. You demolished it and took the pattern off the plate and had to stop eating the cutlery. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake, fucking onions. Fuck. They weren't tail and you're going, oh.
well, what I've done is open the pie up and take the onions out.
Yeah, I should have done in hindsight, but it just put me off because I wanted to tuck in, like I did the first time I had the pie at the Hand and Racket, at Papa Wilderness Station. But it just like, oh, goodness sake. Yeah, so this leads us on to, I tell you, I had a lovely chili at the White Hart, one that was associated with Jack the Ripper and all that mural in the pub. And it was strange because, yeah, I had a lovely chili and something else there, and it was lovely food and all. I like the pub at the White Hart. Nice food. But like so, just I mean, I'm just this is like a pre. Then of course, you wanted to go to the borough, which I'd never even heard of the place. I even heard of the Borough Market, which is renowned. I had no idea that Saw Productions, PWL, for 5 or 6 years, however long it was, produced some of their hits which made them big bucks at the Bunker. So you can imagine how puzzled I was when we come out of the Borough Tube station. We went
Mhm.
eh?
Yep.
You leading the hunt. We both walked past the little passageway, which would have saved us about 2 minutes. Went round and then up. I think it's in that video where we were basically um, not arguing, but because I said, "Oh look, vineyard," and you're going, "It's vineyard." It's vineyard. It's two separate words. Oh, it's vineyard. It's vineyard. And then I remember just watching you walking around this red brick building with the blue windows, uh, taking pictures like a forensic detective. You were like a forensic detective photographing every inch of this red bricked building in Vineyard at the back of the Borough Tube station. And I just remember to this day I'm leaning against the wall in this little passageway, scratching my head, thinking he's gone nuts. It's just a red brick building with blue windows. Um, when you explained it to me, it was Pete Stockaken and Wortman's studio, the bunker. I mean, when you were walking around there and you were taking pictures of it, you were like, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I'm at this place where Rick Astley and Sonia and Kylie Minogue recorded their breakthrough hits.
You know what I was? You know what I felt like?
Yeah,
Like a pig in shit.
yeah. You like no, I said you like the seal that's found at the inflatable beach ball. You like me coming across a freezer full of professionally made Vindaloo curries with a fridge full of chilled Henrys. I mean,
No, it's a bit better. It's you with um 3 fish and chips for a year it takes.
oh yeah, that would require though an early pickup for you, so that we're not. Oh, that batter. More the fish than the chips. Sometimes the chips a bit average. I tell you, like we went to Brig other day a few days ago. Small, but nice. I went to Scalini's fish and chip shop.
Yes, Gallinis.
Yeah, we got two small fish and chips for a tenner. Um, I mean, it was enough. I mean, I left half my chips. The fish were nice. We had it outside, cash only. But yeah, nice fish chip at Scalini's. And then we had to get back because we were just over the bridge. When you first come into Brig, before you go over the bridge where the Tesco is, there's a little turn off, and you can park there for an hour. And then you go over this little bridge, there's like a little canal or something, and then you go the start of where the shops are, and it's not that big, but it was all right. But yeah, Tate's. But you see, I got it in the end because um, at some point I went on a Hull pilgrimage, and I got up at West Hampstead Thameslink, and I went to this pub not far. I tell you where the pub was. Me and you got up at West Hampstead Thameslink, and we walked up to that where that pub is, that corner, Railway Hotel or something. We turned left, and we got the bus there to Abbey Road. And somewhere down there is the English National Ballet's headquarters at West Hampstead. Um, I went there. I went up to Kilburn, where they played their last gig in '77. Um, it's now a ministry or something. I went to Curzon Street, to where Keith Moon died in Harry Nilsson's flat. And just somewhere down there, there's a street where the Who were filmed. So eventually, when you explained it, I got it. I said, I understand now why he was so eager to go to the borough to photograph this innocuous building. And then this my point is, we went up to the Gladstone, which I believe that you filmed me. It must have been. I think I had that green puffer jacket on. I had the shaven head and my camera bag. And you filmed me in the street, going, well, this is the Gladstone or the Glad, where Saw PWL used to come for their food and drink, and obviously separate bars where they were falling out. And right, it's time to go for a pint. And we went, and I like to go to the Gladstone on Lant Street. Their pies, man, oh man, Jeff, their pies are brilliant. Honestly, I don't know if we had a pie when we were watching that band rehearse.
I know, I think it was just drinks.
Yeah.
That were very fit. I didn't have it. I didn't have it good, but
Well, if we ever do get back down there again, we'll definitely have to have a pie and gravy with pie with gravy and mash at the Gladstone or the Glad. Honestly, I think it's called the Pie Minster or something, and it was one of the best pies I've ever had. You know, a lovely small little pub, like the fish and chips at the Red Lion, um, the curry that we had at the Plume of Feathers, the fish and chips we had at the Stage Door in Victoria, and the pie's no longer. There's something similar on the menu at the Hand and Racket. They've got a website, and I would love to get into that pub in Stepney. I think it's classed as Stepney. The Dog and Truck.
the dog and track.
Oh, every time I went past that place, it was always closed.
Oh,
Yeah, and it's same as that pub near the Old Gate bus station. The Still and Star. Uh, if you Google that Still and Star Old Gate, you click on images, you see it's a small narrow pub, but it looked lovely. The kind of pub me you would like, you know what I mean? It's not posh, but it's in the working class area of the East End of London, you know, Whitechapel Oldgate. But it does look like the Still and Star is now permanently closed. As is the Old Gate Exchange where that jellied eel store was. Remember when you said it looks like I'm looking at the football results? You
Yeah.
remember? Uh, remember that the Old Gate Exchange pub near the bus station? And there was that world famous jellied eel store just round the corner. That it. No, but do you remember that pub?
Oh, sorry.
Well, you commented on it because I took a picture of you. You're looking to your right, and you said it looks like I'm watching Sky Sports News for the football results. And it's that pub, that green tile pub. There was that jellied eel stall. Well, I think Harry Redknapp had connections with that. The jellied eel stall was just round the corner, and it was near the Old Gate bus station. Up that was the opposite side of the road, and that is now offices. So it's another pub lost. Um, the Grey Maurice, that's now somewhere else. Thankfully, the Blind Beggars still aren't go. But we but I mean I'm indebted to you in a way for because I would have never known that the Gladstone Arms existed.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of London that I know.
Yeah, but I mean I'd love next time to go to the Borough Market because that's is not we're buying anything like, but just to see the Borough Market. Went to Spitalfields Market as we know in that old building. Um, and obviously we had a few pints at the Ten Bells. I went with Gusher when we took around London, but obviously she was getting retired and went up to the Ten Bells. Um, but it was absolutely heaving with people, so we didn't go in. Um, but yeah, good memories of which we'll touch on at a later date. Um, because
Yeah,
I
it was there's a Red Line pub where Oliver Cromwell's body was taken after he was dug up after the restoration. Because they've exhumed his body from Westminster Hall, hung him at Tyburn, and then obviously um, yeah, I think what I've done is exhumed him from Westminster Abbey with two other people. Took him to the Red Lion pub, which it's a different Red Lion pub. And then prior to
well
being booted posthumously.
well well that kind of makes sense because obviously where Charles I was executed was further up on Whitehall. Obviously, then what is
Right, it wasn't that Red Lion pub.
a different one?
Yes, it's a completely different one.
Yeah.
I've got all the details. I've saved quite a lot of hotspots from the Shady Lady, which I won't mind having a little gander.
But I tell you though, again, if I ever get a chance for a John Holmes London bash, definitely I would say pie, a nice pie at the Gladstone in the Borough, uh, a nice sumptuous fishing. I mean, I went. If you go further on down Curzon Street, there's a little. passageway that takes into like this old Dickensian world where there's I think there's a pub I went into. Well, I can't remember Shepherd's Market or something. But I had nice food there. I even had an expensive fish and chips at the Crooked Billet in. I don't know what fish and chips. It was steak and chips at the Crooked Billet, the pub next door to where Imogen Hassel lived and died. And it was sort of like then 18 quid. And it was supposed to be like triple cooked chips and this steak, and I'm thinking, fuck me. I thought there's just like a one-off treat. I treat myself to this stupendous steak and chips at the Crooked Billet pub. Give me two shakes. My glass is empty.
I need to knock off in 5 minutes. I've got school run in the morning.
Make it 10 and it rounds off to a nice hour. Well, we can do more. I mean, for now, the leaving Saturday alone thing will work. Obviously, it all depends when my shifts get back to normal. I mean, I can do this now on a Tuesday, and the right week on a Friday, because I've been only doing 3 days at the moment with a knee thing. So it's kind of as and when. We'll try to leave Saturdays free as much as possible. Because last thing we want to do is to be multitasking. Right, so okay, so we'll leave London alone for the remaining 10 minutes. We'll move quickly on to the Hollybush. No, I've got my time on here. It's when it gets about just over an hour, I'll let you know. Pardon me. Right, just be with the Hollybush. As you know, I was told by Roy and that about this place in Wales, St Fagans. It's actually the Museum of Wildlife, and it's by this place at Blistill in like Stoke area. And I stayed in Bournemouth a couple of days, did a bit of research on Pub Utopia, come across the Hollybush. There was a slightly fat bloke there who wore a Chelsea football shirt. I think Ray Steer may have been there. When I discovered that I loved Bournemouth more than anywhere else, I adopted the Hollybush as my place to go. Ray Steer was there then. Eventually, as you know, Paul the Sane, with his then fiancée Vicky, came in, and then once they had their feet under the table, Ray Steer kind of helped out now and again because he was our main host on a Saturday night. Then I introduced you to the Hollybush, which for me was our little sanctuary. So what was your first impressions of the Hollybush?
Looks like one of them old Dick Turpin inns.
That's what I thought.
A lot of wood and
that big fireplace. I mean that night that you don't remember, but I do remember it because we must have been there on the Friday night, taking pictures of each other, playing pool and of the various chalk signs on the boards and that, and it must have been the following night that couple was there, and they had a go at me, like, why are you doing taking pictures? People want to come here. I said, we weren't doing any harm, and that's her who, when I put an appeal out on this group, Elstree and Bob would light up, and about 60 members in it. Karen Whitehouse. She said, "Oh yes, I remember you, my husband Norman's passed away." And oh God, because I remember there was one night they had a big argument. Cause he was always pissed when I saw him at the Hollybush. They had a big argument in the pub, and she um, went up, and I didn't know where they lived. I come out and went up that usual footpath by the horse place and the cemetery. She must turn around hearing this crunching, thinking it's a rapist or something. So it's only me. Oh, that's a big relief. And the son picked her up near where that footpath comes out onto Allen Lane. And, they kind of dropped me off near Domino's Pizza. Um, but, I love the Hollybush. I fucking gutted when Paula Sane left. And I don't think he did anything after he'd left and went to the Shooting Star. I mean, that picture you took of me and Ray Steer playing pool. You kind of see my left shoulder when that football shirt. You got Ray Steer um, with his glasses on his forehead, about to take a shot. I mean, he would kill on that pool table. Oh, fuck! I missed that place. That walk down, to the place. The come out. In the car park of the Elstree Inn, past Bournemouth Tyres. It's that T junction where I rung you that time to announce, hey, guess what? I'm here in Bournemouth. Choo, 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 choo. Sneeze, fucking sneeze. Yeah, that would. Oh.
And also, I went to see.
Yeah, so all I can recall is you bloody pissing yourself laughing when I'm having a fucking sneezing fit in the middle of Shenley Road. And obviously up Shenley Road, past the railway station, over that bridge, onto Allen Lane, up that footpath, past the cemetery, the horse place, out by the cenotaph, up that hill, and then just across the street at the top of the hill when it levelled out, there it was. Our oasis.
Me and you, the first night, we went the long way around, didn't we?
We may have done, yeah. I think it was a subsequent visit where I'm not sure if I used Google Earth, but I discovered that footpath, which saved about 10 minutes. Which brought us out near the War Cenotaph. Because now, like in Elstree, because when we went the long way around, we went past that former pub, which was a pizza place or an Italian restaurant. They've now practically lost all their pubs. They're practically all gone. There was that pub, if you remember, when we took the bus from Elstree Bournemouth Station, railway station, we took the bus up to Edgware. I think we went up through Elstree Village, and it gets that crossroads where there's that old pub on the right hand side. That was an Asian Eastern restaurant with a pub part to it. But I think the only pub they've got now is it's a pub where I think it was called the Axe or something Axe. It's now called the Mops and Rooms or something. But else she's got it's practically got no pubs at all now. Um, we've said goodbye to the Crown, as seen in Confessions of a Pop Performer, where Bill Maynard's look at the record shop and they look at the pub. They looks at the record shop. We should be buying copies of the single by Kipper, and he goes to the pub. I mean, that was a really busy pub. That was my first ever pub I went into in Bournemouth, was the Crown. And it was a busy pub, nice beer garden, very busy. And it's now, past 3 or 4 years, been a fucking Sainsbury's local. So we said goodbye to that. The Director's Arms, we never went in the Director's Arms, but it was, if you remember Manor Way, where the laundrette scene in the on the buses film was filmed, and using Confession of a Driving Instructor, and also Pop Performer with the pantomime horse. In the distance was the Director's Arms. That's now gone. We've now lost the fucking Holly Bush. It's a bastard day nursery. Right, so as we're up here in the morning, and it's still fucking raining, pardon the French. Do a little checklist with pointers like I got the Hollywood pool. We can go back on the Hollywood on say on Friday. Because we can't do Sunday because you're on earlys. Pool, Ray, Paul, Sanctuary. I put Prince Pizza, Domino's Pizza. I'm do back food in for Chicken Place, Wellington, like London. The beer picture. What the fuck? The beer picture, whatever that is. Booze, toilet, booze. That's when we went to the pub, toilet, had a pint, and Camden Town Tube, fish and chips were kind of slightly covered. There was a few things I can do next time, like the mystery of the camera and the 2 pints, which we resolved. It was actually the anchor at the Thames side. I mean, I still chuckle about the Camden Town Tube incident. Fuck me. I know I will curtail after this, because I know you've got urgent issues at morning. I mean, you were calm, cool, and calculated. You were, no panic mode. You knew what was what. You knew the crack. But at the time, um, we know this. We've covered this before. I get on the tube at Camden Town, knowing that it splits into two. One goes to High Barnet, one goes to Edgware. You, being the kind gentleman that you are, let this person with this jumper get on before you, and the door's closed. I just remember thinking, holy fuck, what the heck, no signal because we're underground. What the, oh, fucking hell. Oh. What's if he goes to, he gets next tube and goes to pissing High Barnet, and, but I think when I got to Golders Green, I said, I'm on Golders Green. Don't forget, you need to get the tube for Edgware. At some point, I got to Burnt Oak, I think, and you managed to get a signal and said, "Don't worry, it's all under control. It's all under control." Blah blah blah. I don't know if it was that day or that night, I should say, that we got to Edgware tube station, which is next door to Edgware bus station, and we nearly missed the bus. But thankfully, if you remember, the bus driver was running late, and by thunder, didn't we know about it? Because he put his fucking foot down and went like the bastard clappers, didn't he? He went like the bastard clappers to back to Bournemouth, like a Formula One driver. But something happened though. It might not have been the same day, but we got the wrong bus from Edgware, and it didn't go through Elstree. I did it. We got the wrong bus. Somehow we missed Elstree, and we got on this bus, and it took us into Ronston Avenue, where the bloke must have had some of his friends on the bus. Next thing you know, we parked up, ironically not far from the pub where Paul was saying eventually took over, and switched the engine off. And I think that was the night we went, and sadly I wish we'd had more. We should have let us fucking hair down, really. But we had the one pint at the Wellington. Right. I'll curtail this now, because I say you've got things going on at morning. There's more. Just if you have a chance for like a quick set. Well, I mean, I will be up Friday anyway, because I stay up to about 2 o'clock in the morning at least for the Chris Barron's Friday night horse around while I still can, before my shift returns to normal. And that starts 9 o'clock Central Time or Pacific Time, which is 2 o'clock in the morning UK time. And I watch this like 3 o'clock in the morning, which is Chris Barron Hot Spin Doctors on Instagram. So can easily fit one in on Friday, leaving Saturday free, and then next week we'll do it on the Sunday, when you're on the late shift on the Monday. But there will be times where we'll have to use a Saturday when circumstances change. What the fuck's that? But there's just make a few pointers. Anything relevant to like a Bournemouth, Elstree, place we've been, food. Like I put here, Prince Pizza, Domino's Pizza, chicken place. Yeah.
I got by the arseholes now.
That looks like a bloody pussy for a face then. If you had them half that size, there'd be no danger of you demolishing a whole pan of fucking curry. Now it looks like some bizarre experiment from Chernobyl. Looks like an a-hole. Oh my god, I can't believe it's fucking raining still. So for Friday, we'll leave Saturday alone, so you can just enjoy your films and your food. We'll only use a Saturday when there's no other option. That probably towards
So I'll
end of
give it
May.
eventually. PJ sessions be up and running.
I stayed a noise. Nothing apparent. Probably some pots. What were you saying, Jeff?
The PJ sessions will be up and running by then.
Yeah, it all depends. Because we're back at the hospital again on the 18th for physiotherapy department. They said the muscles in the right knee were still very weak. I mean, it looks like there will be some flights returning second half of May, but I had a word with conversation with one of the stewards who works for TUI. He's now at Argos at the moment, but he still works for TUI. And he says it'll be point 27th of end of May when things start happening. But according to the news, the EU Commission saying they'll allow fully vaccinated people to open their borders beginning of June. So
yeah,
so it depends on circumstances and situations of availability. If you can avoid a Saturday, we'll try and avoid a Saturday. But at the moment, I could do like tonight because she's still on the 3 days because of her knee. And obviously, we're still awaiting what she's doing for the second half of May. So it's kind of looking at what we can do, and obviously still the pursuit of finding an app which we can record sound and vision without having to fuck about like this. Where if I can do it on the phone, set it off, there'd be no need for me to film the tablet using these bloody speakers that was these little uh, speakers here. That's one. I just heard a noise then, because I was supposed to cut. Where did we go Sunday? Oh, Sunday we went up to Market Wheaton, where a man called William Bradley lived from 1773 to 1820. He was 7'9" in height. He had a walking stick that was nearly 6 foot. It was honestly, there's a boulder outside this shop that he apparently carried from this gorgeous little village called Goodmanham, which has a lovely pub. We saw it right on a bend. Got a nice small church, but right on the bend is a lovely pub. One pub in the village. There's another place called the Fiddle Drill, which is it's like a cafe restaurant place. There's no shops in the village. Some lovely big houses that you can only dream of. But good. It's all one word. Good man ham. Goodman ham or good ham man. I mean, it's Goodman Ham. It's called, and it's like half a mile from Market Wheaton, and it's absolutely delightful village. And I dropped this up when you cut the grass. I said, oh, I'll do it Monday. It's done now, but fucking piss it down all day. It's pissing down now. I can hear it bounce off a conservatory roof.
Right.
Right, that's it. I'm going to do my usual. I'm going to press this down so it says power off, and it'll all go black.